Aloha, I'm Kala'i Miller. Turning 100 is a significant milestone, whether it's a person, place, or business. And in Hawaii, several institutions turned the big 100 in 2022. We begin in lush Manoa Valley, where it's like stepping back in a moment of time. In 1922, the Salvation Army opened the Waioli Tea Room, where patrons could get lunch and afternoon tea. But it was also a place for young girls to receive vocational training. After being shuttered for several years, it's now the Waioli Kitchen and Bake Shop, and the owners are honoring the past with a new calling.
Waioli has a rich history that we're so lucky to be a part of.
The history of this place is pretty interesting, but it started even before the Waioli Tea Room came into existence. There was an orphanage here that started out when the Salvation Army first arrived in Hawaii. This happened to be a girls' home on the hillside here behind us. And they discovered that when the girls aged out, that they were headed, most of them back to the plantations where they had a very hard life in front of them. Having no family, they were the lowest of the social order, and it was just going to be a rough life. So with a grant or a donation from the Wilcox family on Kauai, they had this property and they put up the Waioli Tea Room. And the idea was that the girls would learn how to basically do all the tasks to run a household. They had the cooking, serving, cleaning, but probably most importantly, they got beyond the plantation English and they learned how to speak proper English.
Now, right across the way, Salvation Army has a home where women who have drug and alcohol addiction can live with their children and continue to get treatment. They're learning how to recover and learning how to be moms. Ross had run restaurants for 30 years. And when it was time for him to retire, somebody suggested reopening Waioli. It had been closed for about 4 years. And when he consulted all of his restaurant friends, they said, whatever you do, don't do it, because it's open and closed many times over the years. But we found if you ever want to make God laugh, just tell him what you're not gonna do. We were like, we're not doing that. He's like, oh yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. So I had spent 6 years volunteering in the women's prison, preaching, teaching, and counseling. And we realized that in prison, women have a lot of support. They have a lot of programs while they're in there, but when they get out, there's not so much. They literally just open the door and let them out. So you can imagine when they get out, they oftentimes go back to what they've always known. So we have a very high recidivism rate here in Hawaii. So we thought Ross's management and running restaurants coupled with what I had done would be the perfect thing to put in here at Waioli. Salvation Army wasn't even sure they wanted to open it again. We wanted to make sure that everything that we did supported what they had done. We had to get a vision for what this generation of Waioli was going to look like, because it had been a tea room. We had a friend who came in and was able, Janet Tenney, was able to help us get a color scheme back in place and return it back to so that you would feel like you're back in Old Manoa in 1922. And then all the pictures that you see, we had to comb through their archives and try to tell the story again, bring it back on mission again.
We have an amazing building here. It's literally a 1920s arts and crafts style bungalow that could have been someone's home. So many people walk up and they go, whose house was this? Who lived here? Not knowing the history of the place, which of course is an opportunity for us to tell the story. But it was done very, very well. They had a tremendous understanding of, I'll say, quality back when it was built, and it stood the test of time. It's not a new building by any stretch of the imagination. Our drain lines are, this big, and it has 100-year-old wiring, and it has all the foibles of a 100-year-old building. That being said, it's still here. It still looks beautiful. The grounds are old Hawaii.
So we changed it a bit from the way that it used to be. We made it more of a fast casual restaurant. And the idea behind that, I think, is that we wanted to continue the mission that Salvation Army has always had in our community. So we talked about the orphanage and those gals who are across the way getting help. So we thought this would be the perfect place for them to just walk literally right across the parking lot and have a job. But it's turned out to be a little harder than we thought it would be, Abe.
It's been a little bit more challenging to start this up because when you are equal parts mission, equal parts restaurant, you find that you're doing a lot more counseling on life skills rather than just the skills required to perform the tasks in the restaurant. This is your job and you're expected to show up every day on time, ready to work. And a lot of these girls have never had that sort of an experience.
I'm the baker, so I pretty much do all the scones and some pies. I run the line, pretty much everything back at the house. Well, I spent most of my adult life incarcerated, and everything I picked up in jail. So I was the head baker and the head cook in there. When I got out this time, I had a really hard time finding a job in the beginning because as soon as they did a background check, they never called back. This opportunity means a lot. This is the longest I've ever been out of prison. It's more than just a job here. We're a family here.
Back in the days when I was doing time, Steph used to come and volunteer in WCCC. And so when one of my friends told me that this was her mission, that this is what they're doing here, I wanted to be part of that mission that they was doing, helping the next person that coming out of prison, you know, giving them a chance to work. That's where I wanted to be, and this is where I'm at.
I moved over here to Salvation. It's clean and sober living. I had to get a job, and I just had my son. He was only like maybe 6 months old. My mom started babysitting for me. I came and applied for over a year, and they hired me. And ever since then, since January, I've been here of 2021, and I love it here. I had no experience in this job, but I have plenty of experience now.
We had some ladies that had run drugs, you know, for 40 years. And then we're asking them to show up on time, to get along with people, to not just do things their own way. So those were some of the huge challenges. Our gal Tiff didn't even know how to flip an egg when she first came, right? I mean, she broke how many eggs?
Thousands.
Thousands of eggs.
We put on so much weight eating her mistakes.
I think it went about a month. It took me that long to learn. But he showed me this one method where raw rice and that pan, and he's like, just flipping a baby. And I was like, okay. So now I can flip, toss, turn.
Tasha is incredible. She is a single mama. She's overcome her addiction. She works so hard. I mean, she's one that you're considering putting into management, yeah? Going from just walking in, going, can I have a job, to being a manager. She owns her space and she trains people amazing.
There's a lot of things I enjoy the most about working here. Where it comes from, the whole background of this place and what it used to be, how they take in the people that most people wouldn't take in, you know, women coming from treatment, women coming from prison, and they train them. They have no problem with it. They put the trust in them, and it's just, they're really, really awesome, loving people, Steph and Ross. Like, I get goosebumps right now talking about it, but I really enjoy the scenery and the people that come here.
Dita is a very interesting person. She has spent the majority of her adult life in prison, and the times that she's been out have been very short. Right now, she's on her longest stretch out of prison that I believe she's ever had. And she is a remarkable woman because she has such natural leadership qualities, things that you can't teach.
Yeah.
She's
a general.
She is a general.
No, she is. She is.
And she brings people into her sphere. And Perhaps in the past it wouldn't have been a positive thing, but now she takes people and she trains them and she teaches them and she gives them opportunity and little responsibilities. She's actually become my lead baker.
I actually created 3 of the scones that we have. Boss has actually pushed me to create things. Even when I've had a couple fails, he doesn't like judge me or get mad. He'll just be like, well, this one didn't work out. But I don't feel like a failure, you know? Like, oh man, he's just like, well, let's just try and adjust it.
Our Tiffer she's one of our first people that we hired. She is steady, she is calm. It doesn't matter how busy it is, you're never gonna see her get flustered, and she'll always do her best. And talk about someone who welcomes new people into a stressful environment, because it can be stressful in the restaurant business.
We don't have professionals coming through these doors, you know. We have people that constantly reminding me where I came from. So I'm there to like, oh no, come, let's do this. Let's try this way. Let's go this way instead of going that way, you know. So I think every time when someone new comes through that door, it reminds me of where I don't want to go back, you know. So it kind of helps me stay on track too.
We're not judged here. We're all equal here. That makes a difference.
They remind me every day of how worthy I am and how good I'm doing, and they always constantly remind you of the greatness that they see in you.
Everything we do here, we do at home too, you know. We're learning how to communicate here. We learn how to communicate with our kids, our family. You know, everything we do is a lifestyle here.
What inspires me, I think, the most about our staff is that they are they're doing the hardest thing that they've ever had to do in their life. You know, running drugs was hard, being in prison was hard, but this changing is really the hardest thing they've ever had to do. And being able to watch them wrestle through their processes has been amazing.
And they're learning to become overachievers. They could take what they've learned here and basically fall into almost anywhere, because they do a really good job, and there's a lot asked of them, and they do it at a fairly high volume. It might just be breakfast and lunch, but it's a lot of breakfasts and a lot of lunches. And we always stress that you don't do 300 breakfasts, you do one breakfast 300 times, because it's special to that person that's going to enjoy it.
The hope is that they will go and they will take everything that they've learned here and they'll bring it to their next place.
The hope is that they will go the right way.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking to watch them go the wrong way.
Yeah.
And it's very fulfilling to watch them go the right way.
We just consider ourselves like the next ones to run with the baton that is Waioli. There's been many different people who have come through and run this restaurant in all different ways. And so now that we have it, we want to run with it in such a way as to just affect those that are around us and those that come in here and honor the culture, definitely honor the host culture, and honor the years and the history that this place has.